What is going on, my friends? Happy Wednesday morning, August 28th. Get everything in position here. Hey, I got something really cool for you. Of course, we're going to be talking business, personal, and whatever's on your mind. But with the 5-minute countdown timer, I'm going to kill like the last, 15 seconds or so because I got a cool intro there. Plus, I think we're going to eventually limit this. So anyways, come back for the last 60 seconds. At least the last 30 seconds, you're going to see something really cool. See you here in about 4 minutes. Morning, my friends. You know the drill. Say hello in the chat. Let me know how your day is going. Today is Wednesday, August. What is today? Wednesday, August 28th, 9:05 Central. I mean, that intro is so cool. Somebody made that for me a while back. If it's okay with you, I'm going to play it again because I just thought that was so cool. Gail, girly girl, how you doing? Brian, my man, let's go, man. I'm going to play this again. And there we go. And you know what's cool about that intro is I in our world, and some of you may see it. Good morning, Brian. Good morning, Gail. Gail, I don't think you've been on in a while. Um, a lot of times in our world, people will fake their yeah, it's a good music, I agree. A lot of times in our world of just wanting to be fame whores or content creators or influencers or whatever it is you want to call it, whatever it is you want to call it, people will fake stuff. They really will. You can get fake press releases and say you're on NBC, or you can get fake, you can do fake speaking gigs. There's actually places where you can pay to be on a stage, but the only other audience, it's just to get footage. And the only other people in the audience are other speakers who are there to get footage. So you pay like $2,000 and there's a camera person and there's a makeup person and you get footage of you speaking and then you can say you're a professional speaker. All the stuff you saw in that intro is real stuff from me speaking, getting paid to speak, or being on literal TV here in Oklahoma City. So I'm very proud. I mean, there was a picture of, I think there was a video of me out by a pool texting. That was really out by a pool texting. Yes, I was getting footage for that, but everything else is real and genuine. And I think that's really, really important. Anyways, I was looking for that for a while because I had a team that was doing my video editing and they made up that intro for me and I had the footage and I've been digging for like a month in my Google Drive and I finally found it. So that's going to become a standard part of my intro there. And I want some other stuff also to make it so to give you guys some information as we're warming up. But either yeah, exactly, Brian. It's so easy these days. And I actually was playing with the AI. I was playing with an AI the other day. Oh, in the captions app I use on my phone, there's an AI. If you guys have seen my reels or my shorts at all, there's an AI generator I use, but only for the captions at the bottom. But I found out in that tool that I can generate an AI Patrick, and so I train it with lip movements and stuff. And now I can go in there and basically just give it a script or give it a web page. It'll read the whole thing looking like me. But it's to me the AI speaking thing is just not 100% there. I can look at an AI generated avatar and say, "Oh, that's AI generated." Not to mention, if I started using that, it would be me in like the same shirt with the same background every time. So that's just, to me, I like speaking. I like sharing information. Training an AI to do it almost seems like too much work to me to get it to be like a real Patrick because it's not a real Patrick. So either way, let's not go down that route because I'm sure we could bitch about AI for an hour here. But hey, welcome, Gail, Brian, thank you. Everybody else that's in the chat that chooses to be quiet. It is Wednesday, August 28th at 9 a.m. Central. You are watching the Stop Doing Nothing show where I talk about coffee, water, life, bracelets, Apple rings, business mainly though, and whatever else is on my mind, and specifically what's on your mind also. So if you are in the chat watching, share some good news you have had this week, share some challenges you have, and we will get to those as we intersperse my topics here. As always, please make sure you text SHOW to 405-217-4752 and get show alerts. I had some people text in show from the Monday show, and I had to go in and set up the alerts to today. So people got text messages and emails like right at 9 o'clock, right as the show starts. So I'm going to start doing that, making sure I'm on the ball for that. For my exercise fiends, today is probably, I may be on day 40 or 42 or 43, I'm not quite sure which, of Apple ring closure, which I'm very proud of. I think I think that is very, very cool of me. And today it was, the day at 5 a.m. out, knock it out for you guys and come back and do show prep. So it's been a good week so far. If you haven't had a chance, please make sure you also go back and watch the Monday show. I did a really good recap on Monday of the booth I had at a local networking event, local business marketing / networking event here at Metro Tech in Oklahoma City, and some lessons learned there. So as always, please be sure to go back and watch the show. Today we're going to be digging here into a little bit about lessons learned as I started my business. I've been in business since, I believe, about October or November of 1998. And I can tell you from my very first business trip, I was tripping and stumbling over how to do things. when I look back, it's just amazing. It's amazing how dumb I was. I've very much been a fail forward kind of person when it comes to business. I mean, I kid you not, like from day one, I was screwing up. And I still screw up on occasion, but hopefully I will learn over time and improve. But that's what I'm talking about in the main part of the show. Real quick, I was listening to a podcast this morning, and if you follow me on Facebook, and please make sure you do friend me on Facebook, I will welcome all friend requests. I was talking about a podcast I've been listening to recently. Well, obviously, I do listen to podcasts, but I was listening to one specifically. I'm going to pull up for you. Well, like everybody else these days. I have to say I'm definitely an Alex Hormozi fan, but inside the Alex Hormozi series, there is one where he does interviews with a gentleman named Chris, and I'm trying to pull up his name right now to see what it is. Oh, Chris Williamson with the Modern Wisdom podcast. Okay, so I'll listen to various podcasts from different people. Alex's, when I'm walking on the treadmill, exercising, whatever. But Alex Hormozi and Chris Williamson on Chris's podcast did these 2 episodes, which I'm actually having trouble getting past. And what I mean by that is I finish both of them, and then I go back and I restart them. And I honestly have to say, probably for the past 2 months, I have not gotten past these 2 episodes. I don't want to listen to anything else. And I'm kind of curious if anybody else feels like that. Do you ever get a bit of wisdom from something or someone, and you're like, okay, I need to stop. I need to stop reading other stuff for a minute. I need to stop watching other YouTube channels. I need to stop listening to other podcasts. I need to obsess over this piece of content or this lesson or this list of lessons and really not try to absorb or consume too much until I really implement what I learn here. And I give you very much an example. As I'm pulling out my phone here, I'm not doing this to ignore you. I'm doing this for an example. So I've subscribed to a few podcasts. I'm pulling them up right now to see which ones I do subscribe to. Which ones do I subscribe to? Home. Okay, so go to home and come on. I want to see. Okay, so I subscribed to the Alex Hormozi one. I subscribed to Frank Kern, a Russell Brunson run, Russ Ruffino. What's this one? Beyond a Million. Retention talks for MRR type businesses, and something called Protect the Hustle. So my rotation of content that I consume and learn from churns here and there. And in the past probably year, I jumped on the Alex Hormozi train. Toot toot. And I was really listening to these in the morning on the bike and on the treadmill. And then I ran into 2 episodes, which I definitely want you to listen to. And then I want you, when you're done, listen to them again. And then when you're done, listen to them again. Matter of fact, here's a good challenge for you. Try listening to them and taking notes, because you will end up with pages and pages of notes. The 2 episodes are Controversial Truths You Need to Hear, Part 1 and Part 2. And I have to admit that Alex and Chris really screwed me over recently, because they just did another joint episode. I saw that someplace online. They just did another one, so I'm like, crap. I'm going to have to obsess over that one too. But anyway, go to Alex Hormozi's podcast. It's called The Game, okay? And Controversial Truths You Need to Hear, Part 1 and Part 2. And it's just lesson. It's really hard to describe. But when I listen to it, I'm obsessed. I guess that's what I was trying to get to. Is on my personal Facebook timeline. I posted some screenshots from the 2 episodes I highlighted there, I think. And I'm just obsessed. They're just like little tiny tidbits. And like all people in the world, we regurgitate content we hear from other people. So the 2 of them have talked to some, they have a show much bigger than mine. And they've talked to some really smart people. They've talked to the Mark Mansons of the world. They've talked to some other really brilliant people. And they have summarized the data. And what I'm going to try to do is also, actually, my lesson after this real quick is coming from that. But anyway, my whole point is just go listen to those 2 episodes, really. And listen to them a few times over. And it'll just blow your mind, the lessons on life and the lessons on business. And the reminder that, we will all end up in the dirt someday. And it's definitely not Debbie Downer kind of stuff, but the importance of the work that we're doing, and the importance of the work is the fun part. Oftentimes, when we're young and stupid, we think that the work is just the boring, mundane stuff to get to the destination. And then as you get older and older and older, you realize, oh, the work is the thing. You can't sit there and be miserable in the work with hopes that there's some big, giant, grandiose, happy thing at the end. You have to be happy with the work in life. You have to be happy with it. I have to be happy doing my morning walks if I want to lose weight. And those of you who watch again know I'm on a weight loss journey. I have to be happy with the work to get there. And I am. I love going out and doing my morning walks. It wakes me up. It refreshes me. Later today, it's Wednesday. It's interesting. I just realized my podcast schedule goes in line with my gym schedule. Later today, when I go to the gym, I enjoy the pain and the tearing of muscle and the sweat and the stretching and that stuff. I enjoy it. The goal is to give me more, muscle tone and also help me lose weight. But I can't just enjoy the end result. You absolutely have to enjoy the journey. So my whole point being, please go listen to those two podcasts. And today, as I was, mentally making show notes, the one thing I did want to talk about, which I picked up, which I picked up from them, which, they picked up from somebody else, is they were talking about this concept of starting to associate. Yes, Gail, walking is great. That's my morning jam these days. Start associating every emotion with an action or activity. So this was a lesson that Alex was talking about, and they were going back and forth on this. And they were starting to say that when you have emotions, okay, when you are sad, when you are happy, when you are anxious, when you are nervous, when you have these various emotions in life, start associating those with an activity which trigger you to start doing something or to stop doing something, okay? Or stop doing nothing would be a very good one. But like Alex was talking about the example, like if you're anxious about making a decision, it means you have too many choices. So you associate being anxious, or you should associate being anxious with eliminating choices or making a choice and shutting all other doors, okay? So you start associating these emotions. You can start associating sadness with a lack of options or maybe a bad choice kind of thing. So, or happiness, start associating happiness with actions that you're taking. So there are days where I start off in a great mood, and there are days where I start off in a mediocre mood. But I've noticed that the happiness and the joy emotions, they come from days where I have a really good schedule. I'm doing some tech help for people that is not necessarily me fingers on the keyboard kind of tech help. I'm doing teaching. I'm doing this. I'm doing physical activity. So these are the things I've come to associate with joy. And that's how I know when I'm in a good mood. If I'm in a good mood because of the things I took before the good mood to get there, if that kind of makes sense. Okay, so start associating, and again, this isn't one of those podcast episodes, and these are not my original words, but as a philosophy I'm trying to update, is to start associating certain emotions with activities that you should be doing, or use them to trigger your reminder that you should be doing activities, or as a reminder of what you did to get here. Okay, another good example. We'll go with the workout analogy. At the end of my workout, I'm obviously exhausted, and I'll go take a bake. I'll have to go take it's kind of interesting. People probably think I go to the bathroom for like half an hour. I go to the restroom and I take my shirt off and I just kind of cool off. And I sit there and I listen to some old school rap music while I'm just sitting in the bathroom, cooling off. Because I'm going to change my shirt and drive home, but I don't want to get in the shirtless. I'm not going to go outside in Oklahoma, 150 effing degrees shirtless right now. So I just find some place where I can sit there with my shirt off. But that's a very joyful time for me to put on some, 80s Cool Modi or something like that, and enjoy the workout, enjoy how my body feels, and enjoy this sweat evaporating. So I've come to associate that with my post-workout. So I'm going to be working personally on trying to associate emotions with activities that I should not be doing. Okay, the main reason you're here, let's talk about Patrick's screw-ups. And I want to hear about your screw-ups also, because we all screw up. I started my business back in 1998. I think end of 1998, 1999, tail end of the year. For those of you who are here local in Oklahoma City, I cut my chops on Air Force in Omaha, Nebraska, and then Hertz. I got a job at Hertz over here on Northwest Expressway and MacArthur in Oklahoma City. And I started there. I was a new guy. Started there, moved up the ranks pretty fast, just because I absorb tech knowledge like a sponge and I obsess over it. And I'll lose sleep over trying to solve tech issues. I'm just that kind of obsessed geek. Okay. And I moved up pretty fast, through the ranks to kind of a mid-level, senior level tech guy in my department with a bunch of other really smart people. And then 5 years in, IBM came in and outsourced us. So I got to work for IBM accidentally, which is kind of cool because as a young nerd, it was always my aspirations to work for IBM. So I was a grown-ass nerd now working for IBM. And I did that for 3 years. And then I worked for Hertz for 3 years. I'm going to get this timeline right. I worked for Hertz for 3 years. Then IBM came in and outsourced us. IBM had a 5-year contract. And so I left. I didn't have to leave. It was definitely a choice. But I left at the end of 5 years to break off on my own. I had written some really good pieces of software. And then towards the end of my 5-year stint, we found an off-the-shelf package, which basically did everything that Patrick had written and more. And I gladly implemented it. And so what happened is the company that sent contractors out to work with Patrick to implement this over, I don't know, maybe 6 months to a year. They're like, "You're really good at this software. You want to come work for us?" And actually, it wasn't the company. It was the contract company they'd sent out. So this company was in San Francisco, a software company, and they had independent contractors they sent out. And the independent contracting company was like, "You're really good at this software. You want to come work for us?" And we will travel around the world working for this other software company, implementing their software. And I was like, "Yes, maybe. Let me think about this." And I then I decided to skip the middleman. I'm trying to remember in my head the timeline. And then I decided to skip the middleman. I went directly to the software company. And I said, "Would you hire me to do this?" And they're like, "Yeah, we'll hire you. Name a price." And so obviously skipping the middleman, I'm going to probably make another, somewhere between 20 and 40% of my money. So that was a good decision. And then they said, "Ask for a price." And that's what I learned. I didn't know at the time, but I learned the lesson of kind of whoever names the number first it's not necessarily the loser. They're the one almost in like the worst negotiating position because that first number becomes a stake in the ground kind of thing. But I didn't know that at the time. And so I can't remember. Yeah, I remember the exact rate I named. I think it might have been like $100 an hour or something like that. And they replied back within minutes and said, "Sure, when can you start?" Which basically means, hey, sure, you can basically break out from the corporate world now and go off and be an entrepreneur. But as I look back, I realized that my very first business lesson was right there. And I got to that, I really was kind of a mental thing of thinking of how I can't remember how I got to the idea of saying I wanted $100 an hour. But I think I started at like 50. And I'm like, "No, man, 60. No, man, 70. No, I went up and up and up in my head. And I'm like, 100? There is no effing way nobody would pay me $100 an hour. Shot over 100. There was just absolutely no agreement, no dispute, which means they were probably charging somebody else $300 or $400 an hour for my time. One of my very first lessons there was the fact that I should have started even higher. It's very possible if I had said, 110, 120, maybe even 150, they would have taken it. I should have proposed a number so high to make them say, whoa, we can't do that. How about this? But they came back and replied back right away it was okay, which leads me to lesson number one. If for those of you who are doing either contract work or hourly work like that, when somebody comes back and accepts your price, immediately you probably shot too low. Okay, I have no doubt at all I could have done 110, 120, and they would have still taken it. I don't ever remember if I found out in later years what they were charging for my rate. But that's one of my first business lessons right there is I shot too low. So be really careful about that when you're thinking of shooting a very high goal or asking a very large price for something. Just be careful about shooting too low on that. Okay, lesson learned. Gave Hertz I think I gave Hertz 30 days notice, which is more than most people gave. Transitioned out, went on my first business trip. I think my first business trip, I can't remember. One of my first business trips on my own was to Iowa. It was my very first one, I believe, to Iowa. And it was in the middle of winter. Well, that was the end of the year, so that makes sense. It was the middle of winter. And so I'm, I like a lot of things. I barely, I had like a low limit credit card, might have even been working off a debit card. Went out on this business trip, banking on the fact that I would get paid while I was going to be out there for a week or two, right? And so just kind of, this is very much the story of I went out there, checked into the hotel, had probably barely enough on the credit card or debit card available to pay for a few nights, or maybe even a week. I can't remember what it was. And come to the end of it, so come the hotel's, asking me. Eventually, my credit card, whatever, was started failing, and so I'm walking by the front desk, and they're like, we need a payment method. I'm like, my money's coming. I'm getting paid pretty soon. My money's coming, getting paid pretty soon. Not, and remember, I had no business entrepreneurial experience at all. So so the end of the week, I think it was the end of it might have been a 2-week gig. The end of the first week comes, and I reach back out to the contracting company, and I'm like, okay, cool. End of first week. When can that first paycheck? Yeah, when do I get that first paycheck? And they're like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, well, I just did a week's worth of work, and you guys said you paid weekly. And they're like, well, we don't have any invoices from you. How do we pay you? What'd you charge us? We don't have any receipts or invoices. And it was one of those lessons, those first lessons where I was like, what are you talking about? But at the same time realizing that, oh, I'm not a W-2 employee anymore. I'm a 1099 person. I am my own company, and I am charging another company for services, and I have to have invoices and receipts. So I really wish I could remember the hotel where this happened at, but I talked to them, or I emailed them, and I said, oh, okay, I'll work on that. I had no accounting software at the time. And so what I did is I went down to the business center of this hotel, and they had Microsoft Office, and I whipped up Microsoft Office, and Microsoft Excel had invoicing templates. So my first invoicing template was out of a hotel Microsoft Office suite, where I had to invoice them for the possibly the air travel, the part of the hotel, a week's worth of hotel, and 40 hours of my rate. And then I printed all that off on hotel paper, and then I had to get it to them as soon as possible. So I remember trying to figure out how you would overnight something. And then I think I went to at the time, I can't remember how I found it, but I found there was like a FedEx or like a UPS box nearby, like an overnight drop box. So in the middle of winter, and this was late at night, I found this box, and I went there, and I had the paperwork for the to get this thing filled out was actually like in the side of the box. It was like a metal standalone box. You guys have seen these, and then like all their shipping stuff is there, and you can fill that out and drop it in the box. So I go up there, and as I'm getting there, the last drop of the night guy is there, and I'm filling out the paperwork to get this overnighted while the guy is waiting for me. And this is 100% true story. I'm not fabricating this. I remember I wasn't clothed very well, so I was freezing my chestnuts off, okay? And I was filling out the paperwork, that little label that you have to fill out like in triplicate, and then slide it in the thing there, and then take the strip off, close it, and give it to the guy while he was waiting for me. And that was the last drop of the night. And that had to have been like, 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And so I go back to the hotel overnight, and then I'm already thinking about how I'm going to invoice next week. And eventually it all worked out. The invoice got paid. We got it in the bank. Hotel got booked. But after that, I learned a lot really fast. And very soon after that, I may have gone out and bought a copy of QuickBooks and learned all about invoicing. But that was the very first time that that was the very beginning of my entrepreneurial journey. So I guess my first advice would be to people who are getting started off is plan your accounting and your business structure ahead of time before you absolutely need it, okay? A little bit later after that, Vinny, my man, how are you doing? I know we get some health challenges, Vinny. Health challenges in your house, brother, and I'm thinking about you guys. But I appreciate you tuning in. So So yeah, that was my very first lesson there. And eventually, I learned about accounting software, and then I also, I probably my second lesson would be the value of credit cards. I believe at the time I was might have been living off of a debit card. I don't remember, but later, as I progressed in business, I learned the value of float. Okay. And for those of you who know anything about finance, float is just the time in between you spend somebody else's money and you spend your money. And if you can manage that float very well, you can have a very risk free, profitable business. So try to find a credit card or two or three where you can float your business expenses. I did not have that at the time. I believe I was very much cash basis kind of person. To tell you the truth, I'm not even sure I had a separate bank account. I don't even think I was a sub. I wasn't even a sub S corporation because that came 3 or 4 months later in the beginning of 1999. So I had no accounting software. I had no formal business organization. I don't think I had a tax ID, and I was in the middle of Iowa in freezing cold clothes trying to get an invoice out. So that would be one of my first lessons there. Learn how to use credit cards, learn how to use float, learn how to use other people's money. Okay. So that Iowa trip was a little bit of a nightmare. That never happened again, thank goodness. Probably one of my other lessons I've learned, which is I keep learning over and over and over, which was the beginning one there, is just be careful about charging too little of what you have to offer in the world. Okay. Every time I've kind of pivoted careers or I've given advice, I've always recommended people always have an upper tier of service you can offer somebody because it costs you nothing and there will always be somebody who buys it. Not everybody. Okay, you may have an upper tier of service where you provide on site versus off site with premium travel. And maybe only 1 in 50 people buy it. It doesn't really matter. It took you a couple of seconds to come up with that premium service. Okay, so let's give you an example here. I do a lot of high level setup work, a lot of high level paid agency work, and by high level I mean the product. Okay, we are a high level reseller. And if you guys ever want a killer CRM or a killer way to manage the information in your business, please reach out to me. I will hook you up something fierce. But we do a lot of consulting work in that world, again, because we have the technical mind on how to build things. But I always, in my hip pocket, have an option like an on-site premium option. Like, you want us to build a bunch of stuff at a high level for you. Here is our project price, but how about this on-site price? You pay for premium travel. We have a obviously increased rate, but we'll just do it all on-site so you can look over our shoulders and you can work with us. Most people will say no to your premium price. Okay, it doesn't matter. Have it in your hip pocket. I've learned that from some other professional speakers. There's a lady in the professional speaking world named Lori Guest who teaches this. And she has her own, proprietary name for it. I'm going to call it premium pricing, where you offer people, like 3 prices in the world, and you really want them to select the middle one. And you can select the middle one. I think Lori Guest does this so much better than I do because it's her jam. RJ, I'm always undercharging for my service. It's funny. Let's get this on the screen because I've known Vinny forever. He's a brilliant guy. I am always undercharging for my services. Funny you mentioned this today, is I'm adding a features to one of our premium services today. Okay, Vinny, good for you. So let's pivot and talk about Vinny's things. I love real world experience in this. Vinny, hopefully you're going to do this, brother. Hopefully you're going to give them. So you're going to be whatever price you're going to give them. If you don't have 3 prices, I would immediately make that your middle price, and then offer them a substandard package that will not give them what they want. Okay, I don't mean that in a mean way. I mean that like, here's my price to get an amazing Vinny experience. Okay, you're going to get everything in this package, and that's price B, which you're going to gear them towards. Make sure you offer them a price A where you could do this, but you're going to have a substandard Vinny package, and you will not get everything that you want. Okay, suggestion maybe it's half your price or 2/3 your price, and that seems scary. That seems scary to offer somebody for something less, because what if they pick that? No skin off your nose. Well, I guess some skin off your bank account, but you're not going to give them a premium price, okay? Or a premium service, excuse me. So let them pick, the Vinny cheap end, low ass, cheap bastard package, okay? But at the same time, Vinny, offer them something up level from that middle price, okay, brother? And this is going to take you just a couple minutes to put together. And it may be, if you share in the comments, Vinny, what generally what the service is that you're offering, maybe photography or something else, I don't know. But in addition to that middle price, come up with just something outrageous, something major, something huge on the on the Vinny premium experience. So I'm gonna pick a number and say $1,000 is $1,000 is the middle price. The Vinny package, exactly, brother. Vinny package. You got such a beautiful name. Everyone. Oh goodness, what a beautiful name, Vinny. I've always thought that. I'm not just saying that, Vinny. I've always thought that just name rolls off the tongue. You're like a freaking movie star. So let's say your middle package, you're going to charge them $1,000 for something. You can have you can have the $500 whatever package, or you can have the $1,000 Vinny, main package, or you can have the $2,000 package or the $2,500 package, which comes with all these extra things that they didn't know they could get. So it may be stuff that you don't normally do, and it may be stuff that you're not necessarily happy doing, but maybe it's stuff that you can, normally outsource. And so when you present it to them, okay, it's like here's this main package, and here's this upper package if you want this, and that gives you an out if they say they have a budget issue. Offshore, exactly. See, Gail. See, this is what I love about getting feedback from people is because once you start, this is a time for us to sit down and start thinking about our business because we don't get a lot of time to start thinking about our business. So many of us just hit the ground running from day one, and we're working in the business and not on our business. So this is a time for this. So exactly, Gail. Offering a foot-long catering package of the hot dog stand, the Gail Premium Experience. And Gail, you have the best product for the best jokes. So you can come up with some really great names for the footlong experience, which, I'm not going to say here because it's not that, it's not that I really care about what people think. I just don't want to get banned by YouTube for coming with some of the things that Gail could offer when it came to the footlong Gail experience. But yeah, this can work over and over and over. So I'm gonna hop back to Vinny for a second. Um, yeah, Vinny, I would just take your middle price, and Gail can do this too. Take your middle price and double and a half, or triple it, and say you can really get this. Because number one, it's just going to look good. You're going to feel good offering that, and you're going to feel good on the occasion that people pick that. That's what feels really good is when you offer that premium package, and someone picks it, and you're like, whoa, wait. I was expecting the $1,000 package, and they're going to pay me the $2,500 package. For example, if I was Vinny and my middle package was $1,000, my premium package might be a $2,000 package, a $3,000 package plus premium travel. That's one of my add-ons these days. Is I will come and do this on site, but it will be premium travel. By premium travel, I mean it will be a first-class plane ticket, and it will be all these other things that I offer in the premium package. And again, make sure that the premium package though is very much worth your time. Don't just do it for the money. Make sure, either make sure it's worth your time, make sure it's something you 100% do, or something you can 100% outsource. Okay, like in my world, we build entire websites and lead funnels and all that stuff. We just build entire marketing systems. We run Facebook ads. We do all these things for clients, and I'm having to constantly remember to make sure that I always have kind of you get in everything in a premium package kind of deal, or the middle package. We'll just do some basic setup work for you, or the low end package. We'll guide you through it, kind of thing. But always offer that premium package. So, in terms of lessons, that's probably one that I didn't follow on enough early in my world of making sure I had premium pricing. And there are people, obviously, people out there much better than me on this, but this is my take on it, and this is the thing. These are the things I try to do these days. Okay, let me see. Oh, here. So my other lessons, I was sketching out lessons for you. Another big mistake I've done in business is trying to do it all myself. And I'm probably some of you are like me, is that when it comes to me doing things in my business, I have a hard time letting go sometimes and letting other people do what they're good at. And I have proof that other people are much smarter than me when it comes to things like graphic design, creativity. I've got proof. I have 100% proof that I am not good at everything. Okay, there is no doubt whatsoever that there are plenty of things that Patrick sucks at. Got proof. I still have problems letting go. I really do. For example, recently, I'll dip my toe in a little bit of graphic design work. I've got the money to pay graphic designers, but I'll fire up Canva and I'll do something. I'll think, oh, that's pretty good. Why do I have to pay somebody for a YouTube thumbnail? I can whip out a good YouTube thumbnail, in 30 minutes inside of Canva. And then I got to remember that 30 minutes is 30 minutes. I could have been doing strategy. I could have been doing marketing. I could have been doing sales. So not only are other people better than me, they're faster and they're sharper and they will have better ideas. And it frees up that half hour of my time. So just remember, you are not good at everything. You will never be good at everything. And you don't want to be good at everything. Your goal in your company is to be good at a very, very small number of things, okay? And then leave the rest to everybody else. Now, an example in that I have learned that I have done a little bit better at is in my accounting, okay? I pay a decent amount, in my opinion, for accounting every month. I was using a company called Bench at bench.co. I tried to pivot over to QuickBooks Online recently. Absolutely despise QuickBooks Online. It probably one of the main reasons I despise it is because the QuickBooks Online, because I buy these services and I pay for the actual accountant. QuickBooks Online takes more of my time and more of my brain power. I don't want to have to think about my accounting. I do not want to have to think about it at all. I want someone smart enough to look at the line items in my bank statement, categorize them, and give me reports. So let's see what Vinny put up here. So letting go from trying to do everything myself was the best thing I ever did. Brilliant man, Vinny. James Martell, why have I heard that name before? Once told me that if it takes longer than 20 minutes to do it, you should outsource it. Yeah, I could see that. I've been on an outsourcing binge before. To tell you the truth, I even outsourced my laundry there for a little while. Back when I had a plethora, back when I was really okay with it. And I stopped doing it, not because of money, just because it was almost too much laundry. Is anybody else like me where they would outsource as much as possible if they could? I would outsource my house cleaning. I still may someday. I would outsource my laundry. I would outsource my food prep. Okay? I probably shouldn't outsource someone taking a shower or a bath for me. That just brings up way too many bad jokes there. But for a while there in Oklahoma City, Scott Cleaners, Gail, you're here in Oklahoma City. There's a service going around called Scott Cleaners that drives around and picks up laundry, and then they drop it off. So, and they were doing it like every 2 days or every 3 days is what it was for the service I was paying for them. So I just leave a bag of dirty laundry on my porch, and they come, pick it up, drop off the previous bag that they'd already washed. It was dried, starched, folded, and it was beautiful. I wasn't doing any laundry. The problem is we don't have a big enough household to make it worth it. We don't have a big enough household to make it worth it. So I wasn't having that much laundry to do. And so after a few months, I realized that it's just not worth it. It's just, in this particular case, and we all have to learn these lessons. In this particular case, it was just more valuable for me to keep the money and, Patrick, get off your ass and do your own damn laundry kind of thing. But James Martell, I like this. James Martell once told me that if it takes longer than 20 minutes to do, you should outsource it. That is a pretty good general rule. Why do I know that name, James Martell? He sounds like someone famous. Is he someone from the affiliate marketing world? Vinny, I don't know why I don't know that name there. Okay, trying to do it all myself was a horrible business lesson. We talked about not having a premium product. Something else that took me a while to learn. I'm looking here at my notes for you. Oh, my notes are down here. I type the notes up here. I look at them down here on the iPad for you guys. So I can keep my eye on the camera line. Thinking your skills don't have value. I've made that mistake before, and that goes in line. I'm actually going to try to put these two together. Thinking your skills don't have value and not teaching what you do. Okay. If you do anything, if you're a Gail Van Kampen here, beautiful woman, runs a food truck, okay? If she runs that food truck profitably for more than 6 months to a year, Gail, you could start teaching food truck lessons in addition to running the food truck. I know Vinny 100%. I mean, even Vinny's profile picture, I remember this profile picture. Vinny's up at a lectern teaching something here. There is so much need in this world for people to be teaching what they know, especially people that have seriously fucked up things in their lives, okay? I'm not going to say I would be the best business teacher, but I could easily give a lecture or an hour or two on how to not start a business. I could very easily, and people would pay for that. I remember I was in Toastmasters once, and I was asked to speak to a room. This was the time when I was transitioning out of Toastmasters to NSA, National Speakers Association, and I had a speech prepared, and I wish I could remember what the title of the speech was because it was really good. But I was giving a speech up in Tulsa, and the title was about how to make money for what you know. And this is something that people in professional speaking always want to know. They always want to know, how do I write a book? How do I launch a course? How do I do this stuff and make this money? So people that are in Toastmasters, which are on the verge of being professional speakers, they want to know this information. So this is actually on my YouTube channel. So blatant plug, go subscribe on YouTube, and I will see if I can find this video for you, and we can talk about it on a future show because I recorded it. Something else I learned a long time ago is record every single time I'm from a group speaking. I gave this presentation, and the room was full. The room was full. It was standing room only, and I'm not shitting you. You can see it in the music video. There's people kind of sneaking in from the back, looking for seats up front. The room was full. I counted 40 to 45 people. I can't remember what it was. And the beginning of my speech was, look around the room, okay? Look around the room of these 40 people. There are 40 people in here, probably all over the age, easily, I would guess, over the age of 30. They all have 30 years of experience, 30 different years of experience that somebody else under 30 would like to know. It could be personal experience, could be business experience, okay? So there's basically 30, quote unquote, thought leaders may be a dramatic word, but there's 30 potential teachers in this room here, okay? At the same time, there are also 30 people who want to learn something, which is evident by the fact that you're sitting in this room, okay? So look at that. 30 people want to learn something and 30 people that have knowledge that people want to buy, okay? And then I went on and on to talk about how, you can put up a course, you can put up a website, you can easily start that stuff, which is the stuff I do now. I mainly help people put on online courses, generate traffic, run Facebook ads, do blatant plugs on their YouTube shows, blatant self-promotion on their YouTube shows. I'm really good at that stuff, okay? But I wish I could remember the name of the title of that video. It was really good. But there are some people I know that came out of that went on to either be professional speakers or finding a way to sell their knowledge online. It doesn't have to be professional speaking. I'm not asking, the Gales and the Vinnies of the world to go out and get up on big giant stages and charge $10,000 for a keynote speech. It could be putting up a course. It could be very much, online courses these days are so easy. The hardest part of creating any course in 2024 is creating the content for the course. If somebody came to me right now, if somebody in the chat right here came to me right now, messaged me and said, Patrick, I want to put up a course, but I am overwhelmed by the technology and what it takes to gather my money, what it takes to give people their user ID, password to log into the course. I'm overwhelmed. I got that on lock. If someone came in and gave me a deposit to do this stuff, I could have your course up and running in 2 or 3 days. Now, this gets on to one of my last points. I had an accidental good segue there, okay? Accidental good segue. This is in my notes over here. I talked about, not teaching. So I'm very much on the word teaching. You're watching me, okay? You like to learn from me. I have value teaching with my skills, okay? That's a given. Thinking your skills don't have value was going to be the last point I'm going to talk about today. Hold on for a second. I realize I'm yapping away. Let me know if I talk too fast. I try to take pauses, but sometimes I really do jabber on too fast. Okay, thinking your skills don't have value. I really had to take time to convince that group of 30 people that I was speaking to that their skills do have value, because people think that you should only be teaching something, or you should only be a professional speaker on something when you've got decades of experience, when you've got 5 PhDs under your belt, when you've traveled the world and gone to exotic islands, when you've tried to scale Mount Everest, okay? People sometimes are afraid to jump in the world of teaching or sharing their experience or getting on a stage, believing that they need all these amazing life experiences to teach, okay? I was that way at one point too, and then I've learned that, one, what I have to share has value to people behind me so I can lift them on my shoulders. And I'm very much about lifting people on my shoulders. So number one, it 100% has value because it will help them not make the mistakes that I made. We, as citizens of this planet, have constantly learned how to make mistakes and how to improve things. Okay? You may or may not be a big believer in science, but we have learned over time and paid with blood, sweat, tears, and death, what causes cancer, what causes early death, what causes various diseases, for example, and we've learned how to modify ourselves to improve, okay? So scientists before us who are dead and gone have learned the things they've shared with us to make us better. We, you and I, everyone watching the show, have the same capability, okay? We can lift people on our shoulders based on our experience. And I feel a very personal responsibility to make my children and someday maybe my grandchildren and my friends better by lifting up on my shoulders. And you can do that too, okay? So your skills 100% have value. That was number one. And then you know what? I lost my mind about number two. It's like 1A and 1B I was going to talk about. Either way, your skills, like I said, I said, Gail running a food truck is a good example right there. When Gail runs a food truck for a year, she is going to learn more about running a food truck than she would ever learn inside of a classroom, okay? How to manage fuel, how to deal with the fact when you run out of gas. Where's the closest gas station? What do you do with electricity? What do you do about permits? What do you do when the city kicks your ass all up and down the street in downtown Oklahoma City, if I'm not mistaken, Gail, right? When you learn all these things, other people want to know them because it will make their lives easier, okay? So please, share your knowledge in the world. That's not how I intended to wrap up. But my whole goal is I've made some serious mistakes in this world, and I've learned from them. And hopefully, I've shared my knowledge and it's helped you. But try to do the same, okay? There's nothing wrong with making mistakes. I'm stumbling forward, okay? I am stumbling forward in life. I'm going to stumble forward until one day I trip and fall in the grave. Okay, it's going to happen. I know what the end game is here, okay? But until I hit that end game, I am going to do my best to share what I know with the world, okay? That's really what kind of my way I'm going to wrap up here. Do me a favor, again, some blatant plug, a couple of things here. Two things I want to do as we wrap up the show here. Number one, I run an agency called Stop Doing Nothing Media, and I need your help to get the word out. So if you ever run into anybody who needs any kind of digital marketing, we've got a full service all-in-one package that we can get people from not being online to being incredibly online in like a matter of weeks. Okay, this is the stuff I live and breathe, is digital marketing. So if you ever know anybody who needs digital marketing, and I'm talking websites, landing pages, text message marketing, email marketing, WhatsApp marketing, e-commerce, they want to sell shirts online, we have a package for that. So if you refer me business, number one, I would appreciate it. And number two, I take care of people that refer me business, okay? Number two, if you would, get out your phone, text in SHOW to 405-217-4752. You've seen that in rotation down here. And I will send you show alerts, okay? I basically my goal is to get like an email and text message out right as the show starts, okay? We are doing this 9 a.m. Monday, what's today? Wednesday, and hopefully Friday. I'm rearranging my personal schedule on Friday. to start doing these on Friday. I was doing them for a while, and then school started up, and I was doing school volunteer time, and then that's got kind of verklempt. But I think this Friday I'm gonna be back here at 9 o'clock a.m. Central. And as also social currency would be appreciated. Share this show. Subscribe on YouTube. There's the texting thing down there at the bottom right there. Subscribe on YouTube and share this show. I think I am just about at 1,200 YouTube subscribers, on my way to 2,000, on my way to 5,000, on my way to 1,000,000 with your help. Okay? Put it on your schedule, 9 a.m. Friday. Thank you very much. You could have chosen to be anywhere this morning, but I really do appreciate you. You have chosen to spend your time with me. Okay? And I really do appreciate that. And I will work on some other live lessons for you on Friday. We'll meet here again. We'll have some coffee and some laughs. And I got to figure out, you know what, Gail, I want to plug you real quick. Where are you going to be this weekend in Oklahoma City for anyone that's watching, Gail? Where are you going to be? Frankie, my man. Frankie, my DM Facebook man right there. Gail, you have a physical food truck here in Oklahoma City for those watching. Where can people find you this weekend, Gail? Is it all private events? Is it public events? I can't find you downtown anymore. And when I'm downtown buzzing, looking for something to eat, I'm always out looking for Gail. And I remember she's off doing a more profitable gig someplace. But if you're watching, Gail, share in the comments where you're going to be this weekend, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So people can come out and buy a hot dog from you. And she's got amazing hot dogs. When she was in downtown Oklahoma City, I did my best to go there every single time. It was good exercise for me to walk down and find her, and I would have a hot dog or 3, which is why I now have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and walk for 3 miles. No, not really. But I would still eat hot dogs. They're just good. It's, a lot of protein, a lot of fat. That's really okay when you're trying to bulk up. When you're trying to bulk up and burn the calories. So as always, watch. See you on Friday. Subscribe on YouTube. Text into the number down there, and like the screen says right down there, please vote, 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 vote. I very rarely get into party politics. That's not my jam. But whatever it is in this country, United States, we need to vote regardless of our beliefs and regardless of the things we're going to agree or disagree about. We got to vote and make our voice heard. Okay, everybody, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you Friday morning. Have a great week.